Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie Daphne and welcome to History by the Books, my new series that looks at the bare bones of different eras of history. Today we're looking at the 12 gods of Olympus and their Roman counterparts. So, settle in and let's get into some history by the books. These are the 12 gods of Olympus: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Ares, Aphrodite, Hephaestus and Hermes. Hestia and Dionysus are usually interchanged as the 12th god, and Dionysus is normally considered to be the 12th god, as it's believed that Hestia gave up her throne for Dionysus, the youngest of the gods. The first god we're looking at today is Zeus, or as the Romans called him, Jupiter. He was the king of the gods, and was the god of the sky, lightning, thunder, law, order and justice. He was also the youngest child of Titans Kronos and Rhea. And below you can see a lightning bolt that I've very badly drawn to represent the fact that one of his many symbols was a lightning bolt. The next god we'll be looking at is Hera, or as the Romans called her, Juno. She is the wife of Zeus and queen of the gods. She was the goddess of marriage, women, childbirth and family. And she's the youngest daughter of Kronos and Rhea. And one of her many symbols was that of a peacock, which again you can see I have badly drawn underneath. The next god is Poseidon, or as the Romans call him, Neptune. He was the god of the seas, water, storms, hurricanes, earthquakes and horses. He was the middle son of Kronos and Rhea. Below you can see two of his many symbols, a trident and a dolphin, although whenever the dolphin would appear as his symbol, it would not look anywhere half as bad as that. I am not an artist, this much is clear. The next god is Demeter, or as the Romans called her, Ceres. Demeter was the goddess of the harvest, fertility, agriculture, nature and the seasons. She is the middle daughter of Kronos and Rhea and the mother of Persephone, who would later be kidnapped by Hades and taken to the underworld. Some of her symbols below, as you can see, one was the poppy and another was a pig, who for some reason I seem to have drawn with a 5 o'clock shadow. The next god is one of the more known gods on this list, as the next god is Athena, or as the Romans called her, Minerva. She was the goddess of wisdom, handicraft and warfare. She was the patron god of Athens, and one of her main symbols, depicted below, was an owl. The next god is Apollo, or as the Romans called him, Phoebus. He was the god of light, the sun, prophecy, philosophy, archery, truth, inspiration, poetry, music, arts, manly beauty, that's very important, manly beauty, not normal beauty, medicine, healing and plague. And two of some of his symbols below are the sun and a bow and arrow. The next god is Artemis, or as the Romans called her, Diana. She was the goddess of the hunt, the wilderness, virginity, the moon, archery, childbirth, protection and also plague. Below are two of her symbols, the moon and a serpent. Now we move on to Ares, or as the Romans called him, Mars. He was the god of war, violence, bloodshed and manly virtues. Again, manly virtues, not just any ordinary virtues, manly virtues. And two of his symbols depicted below are the boar and a spear and shield. Next up is Aphrodite, or as the Romans called her, Venus. She was the goddess of love, pleasure, passion, procreation, fertility, beauty and desire. And two of her symbols depicted below are a swan and a bee. And remember, we have to hashtag save the bees. Next up is Hephaestus, or as the Romans called him, Vulcan, which all of my fellow Star Trek fans will recognise. He was the master blacksmith and craftsman of the gods. He was the god of the forge, craftsmanship, invention, fire and volcanoes. One of his symbols depicted below was fire. Our next god is Hermes, or as the Romans called him, Mercury. He was the messenger of the gods. He was the god of travel, commerce, communication, borders, eloquence, diplomacy, thieves, and games. He was also the guide of dead souls. Below are two of his symbols, a winged sandal and a staff intertwined with serpents. And I know, the winged sandal is horrendous. That's all I'm going to say on that. Next and first of our two interchangeable gods is Hestia, or as the Romans called her, Vesta. She was the goddess of the hearth, fire, and the right ordering of domesticity and the family, and she is the first child of Kronos and Rhea. It is often believed that she gave up her throne as one of the 12 gods of Olympus to Dionysus. Which brings us to our final god, Dionysus, or as the Romans called him, Bacchus. He was the god of wine, the grapevine, fertility, festivity, ecstasy, madness, and resurrection. He was the patron god of the art of theatre, and below is one of his symbols, the grapevine. Personally, he is my favourite god because there is nothing more me than a god of wine and theatre. I want to thank all of you for clicking and watching this video. I hope you found it educational and you managed to learn something today about the 12 gods of Olympus. I hope to be doing more informative small videos like this, so please keep an eye out and I hope to see you very soon. Bye!